Okay, Kevin Dye with Dye Painting. Just going to do a quick walkthrough. This is the first day in 8 that we've actually had some kind of blue sky happening, and it's not been pouring or snowing. So with that said, it looks to me as if the deck looks pretty good. It's hard to tell some spots, obviously, just due to rain and wetness and dampness, but I like these beveled edges. So looks pretty good. I'll kind of guide you through what we do. First day we hit the ground, we strip everything off the deck, that, you know, all the stuff off, and then we actually go through with bleach and we pressure wash the whole thing, and then we use a wood brightener, and then we pressure wash again. We use 3,000 or less PSI pressure washers with tips that are made for decking, so they get a lot of the gunk out. This one looks pretty good. I don't know if it would need a refinish. I think just a really good clean and stain. These side edges are all from these pencil cedar. That's just what's doing that, but it's not a big deal. I have a feeling that you're not keeping this, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it for you. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. This deck's definitely taken some abuse. These trees, like that guy right there, I would probably... These other two ponderosas look really nice, but that cedar and that cedar, man, they look like they're leaning over the deck anyway. So with that said, I'm not a tree guy, I'm a painter. So again, bleach, wood brightener. It needs it pretty bad in this area. This whole deck probably needs a good clean off. Now the way we can tell if it needs to be refinished is if there's actual like ridges in the wood, and there does not appear to be so. So I mean, realistically, you know, it'd probably be a lot smarter to not have to go in and refinish. It's an expensive thing to do. We don't sand on these, but we do sand handrails. We like to sand just the handrail because people lean on them, and we like to have that feeling of like a, you know, kind of new wood feeling. The rest of it looks pretty much like just a refinish. I need to lean over here. So we do have that lower deck. So we only do tops, pickets, handrails, and the big beams. So we usually handle all of the large beams. So I don't know if that's something that I can take a look real quick and just show you. Here, I'll walk down the side. This is a great house though. This is the best street in Arnold. Obviously my bid would include these and these. This is just the best street in Arnold because it's kind of your own little dirt road back here. Alright, so second deck. So by big beams I mean we do this, and we do the supports in the downs. And then we mask off that and we just shoot it. So that's usually what that entails. We can do all the underneath, but the reality is that usually it's kind of a waste of money just because of the fact that, you know, it's underneath the deck, and this has not been sealed. It doesn't look like previously, so it's one of those things. So I mean, we're not going to make it look a whole lot better, but we will, you know, we could seal it. I usually like to have a sealed edge on top so that it has the water has a place to go with one unsealed place. So unfortunately, that's what I usually do. I don't even mess with bottoms unless I'm specifically asked. So if it is something that you're interested in having us do, we can. Again, this here's a big pressure wash. This would definitely take us an 8-hour day, possibly part of a second day, just washing it correctly, going through with we have a high-end tool we use to clean all these slats out, and it's basically a old butter knife duct tape to a stick. But it works really good to clean the slats out. We don't want to stain with any crud on this deck. Very important that that's not there. We want to have clean edges so the stain goes in between the boards too. And then obviously again with the large beams, like we do this beam and we do that beam to the ground, and those we just do because they can be seen from outside. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. We use Armstrong stain oil base, the best that we can possibly use. The cleaning process is very important. This is kind of a tough one because we have a lot of walls that we do not want to get stain on. So we'll have to kind of do some masking. So I see maybe 3 or 4 days with 2 guys. And that's kind of what I see. And we soak. We actually soak the wood. I really try to get as much stain. I basically don't stain the deck as much as I put as much stain as the wood will take. When the wood stops taking stain, that's when we're done. So usually it's 2 to 3 coats of just really kind of heavy back. We spray it and then back brush, and we do all of our deck boards with a brush, a Worcester horse-haired brush. They're rather expensive, but they are the exact width of these boards. And we have just found if we move on our hands and knees or with a pole with a brush on it, it just looks better. Rolling flips everywhere. Rolling leaves a lot of undesirable lines and ridges, while a brush has a beautiful appearance and it doesn't leave anything to break down. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. Pretty easy stuff. It's a lot of work. This is a bunch of decking, but getting it done is you're getting near that point where it appears that it's going to need to be. Sadly, because we're starting to get into some of that stuff, and that cedar we can remove with some work, but if it keeps building up, it's just harder and harder to get rid of every year. So that's where I'm at. I'll go ahead and put this together and send this over today. And thank you guys again. I'm Kevin with Dye Painting, and if you guys need to reach me, please feel free to give us a call and we'll be in touch. Thanks.